Hello, I'm Tammy Green, and this is your Week in Forex, brought to you by MaxiForex. Uncertainty in the market remains as the euro continues to drop. The pound is currently stable, but the yen has weakened this past week. The U.S. economy is showing a growing stability despite the spreading euro debt crisis. Gold rises as uncertainty grows, and oil is bouncing back strong from growing demands out of the United States. This week, Martin Smith is with us to review last week's market highlights. Now let's go to Martin Smith, financial analyst, for a closer look. Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Sammy.
So, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I have some interesting news out of Italy today. Prime Minister Berlusconi announced last week that Italy is absolutely going to go forward with a planned 24.9 billion euros of budget cuts over the next 2 years. This is actually a huge step to protect Italy and the euro. Now, these measures are part of a larger effort by all of Europe to convince current and future investors that the Eurozone can handle budget deficits and help rescue the euro, which incidentally has fallen 15% just this year. Now, this particular package out of Italy is aimed to reduce the budget gap and to actually add 1.6% of gross domestic product.
So, do you think we'll see Italy conduct some kind of wage freeze?
Well, there are planned measures to include a year wage freeze for civil servants. There's a 10% budget cut for ministries, 4.5 billion euros in reduced transfers to regional governments, a partial amnesty on illegal building, and of course a crackdown on tax evasion. Now, these measures are receiving praise by the International Monetary Fund's Executive Board.
Tell us a little more about the tax evasion. Is there a high account of this in Italy?
Well, some of Italy's residents are holding back approximately 100 billion euros a year in unpaid taxes. This means that Italy has Europe's second biggest underground economy after Greece. Now, Greece's residents owe about 270 billion in unpaid taxes. So going hand in hand with the tax evasion problem, we also have Italian officials who will begin to crack down on fraudulent disability claims. But to be honest, I think the Italian public will be pleased in the long run that this debt is being fixed by expenditure cuts rather than a large hike in taxes.
I heard reports of crude oil taking a jump last week. Do you think this has any connection with demand out of the United States?
It certainly does. Last Wednesday, US crude jumped 4%, the biggest one-day percentage gain in over 3 months. Reports reveal that the gain was caused by an increase in demand for refined oil products like gasoline and diesel.
So how is the United States economy faring lately?
Well, we have some good news, don't we, out of the US this week. Purchases of new homes apparently jumped in April to a 2-year high, and orders for durable goods climbed to the highest point in 3 months. This is a strong indicator of an economic recovery in the US, but it also shows that the US, the world's largest economy, may have what it takes to overcome the huge economic slowdown occurring in Europe right now. And while corporate investment will help sustain the US manufacturing resurgence, the housing market may require faster job growth after the expiration of the government's home buyer tax credit.
Well, this is great news, not only for the United States, but I believe for the global economy as well. Has the U.S. made any headway with China concerning the yuan?
Well, the US had talks with China, which ended last Tuesday. That were far from an ultimatum for China to resume yuan appreciation. Instead, in fact, it seemed the US had given Beijing a green light to maintain its currency peg. However, despite the signs that the long-awaited re-evaluation is off the table, it would be a mistake, I think, to go to the other extreme and conclude that Chinese exchange rate will remain locked in place ad infinitum.
So how about an analysis this week of the Lumi dollar?
Okay. Well, although the dollar CAD continues to preserve its broader medium term, declines began from the 13060 level. Now, this weakness has halted, and the pair is now on a corrective recovery path. Now, with new technical signals flashing, a bottom-forming process seems to be underway, and if it breaks above its long-term falling trend line, then a confirmation of that bottom will soon follow. However, with the bearish pressure that turned it towards the downside off of the 10851 level, which closed Tuesday's trading session with a shooting star formation, it may be shaping up for corrective pullbacks of its 99.27 to 108.51 rally. And if this occurs, we should see further weakness towards its low of 105.32.
Well, thank you, Martin. It was a pleasure having you back with us this week. Until next week, I'm Tammy Green, and this is your Week in Forex. Don't forget to visit us at maxiforex.ru.